Alright, what's up, everybody? I know I'm looking a hot mess right now, and I really don't care. I just woke up from a really long ass night. Long ass night, okay? I just wanted to make this video because a part of me wants to look back at it and try to see if I'm wrong. Because I'm real confused. I am real confused. I had the weirdest freaking date I've ever had in my life. No, not in my life. But I'm just going to tell you what happened. Now, this is my third date with the guy, right? I was feeling him and thought that this was something that probably could have turned into something a little bit more serious. Yes. So, strike one. I'm going to tell you what strike one was, alright? Dude told me, you know, we got a lot to do this weekend or whatever. We going out. Doesn't tell me where we going. So I'm like, yo, where we going? So I need to know what to wear. You know what I mean? Because I got dresses that I'm like, you know how some girls, they like love their shoes, they go crazy, they have shoe orgasms and stuff like that, shoe gasms. Like, I am that way with dresses. Like, I will fall in love with a dress, not know where I could wear it to, not have anywhere that in mind that I could wear it to, but I would buy it anyway because it makes me happy, and I'll just keep it in my closet. I have dresses that I haven't even worn yet. I have dresses that I would only wear if I'm with a dude, because I will be eaten up by wolves if I tried to wear it outside on my own or just with my girls, you know what I mean? Like, I just love dresses. And then those dresses that I'm talking about that, like, I can't wait to wear, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, so I'm like, yeah, so where we going and everything? And he, you know, he's like, yo, we just going out. So I'm like, yo, do I need to put on a dress? He was like, you know, just dress nice. I'm like, all right, cool. So I didn't even twist up my hair last night. That's how upset and tired I was. But, all right, so the day comes Friday. Cool. I got everything that I needed to get done, and, you know, it started to rain. So I opted not to wear a dress, but I still dressed up really nicely, not knowing exactly where we were going. So then, now I gave him a pass a couple of times last night because he had, and I know it's probably going to sound bad, but, you know, he had a death in the family, and that day was the day of the wake, okay? Now, just to, you know, just to clear things up, the death in his family was someone who was close to him in relation, but not close to him, you know, he didn't grow up with this person, so, like, he wasn't, like, so distraught or whatever that he didn't feel like going out anymore, you know, because I left it up to him, but he was still, you know, willing to go out or whatever. Alright, so, with that said, he wanted me to meet him at his house. Now, this was my first time ever going over there. He gave me directions, which was a little confusing, but that's another story. I got to his building, and I'm on the phone with him while he's giving me directions the whole time, and I got a little lost, which, mind you, gives him, you know, lets him know that I'm in the area, I should be approaching his building soon, so get ready for me to come, you know? And I finally get to his building, and he says, yeah, the buzzer doesn't work. The buzzer, in order to buzz me into the building to open up the door, it doesn't work. So I'm like, all right, saying to myself, then come downstairs and let me in. So he's like, oh, somebody's going to be down in a second. So when he said that, I'm thinking he sent somebody down to let me inside the building. But while I'm on the phone with him, I'm waiting, and I'm like, when is somebody going to come? Right? Because I'm standing there for a little while now. And I'm like, so when is somebody going to come? He's like, oh, somebody should be coming down or coming out the building in a second. So when he said that, I realized he's just banking on the fact that random people are going to be coming in and out of the building, and then I would be let in. So I'm like, like it's raining, okay? I said that, right? It's raining. And I'm cute. Like I'm dressed up and everything, right? So I'm standing in this building. It's a little smelly, just a little bit. And I'm trying not to be bougie. I'm really trying not to be bougie because you know what? I don't live in a penthouse. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. You know, I'm fine. But I really don't feel like standing there all cute. I had white pants on. It was raining, and I had like 4, maybe 5-inch heels on too, new shoes, and I didn't feel like standing there. You know, it was already late. I already got lost trying to get to the building. I just wanted to get upstairs and get the night going. So he told me, you know, ring the buzzer. He's gonna see if the buzzer worked. Okay, he tried a couple of times, and the door still didn't work. So I'm like, babe, come downstairs and let me in. Come downstairs and let me in. He the phone got disconnected. I don't know what happened. The phone got disconnected, and right at around that moment, he said, I think he said all right. I think because he was starting to break up, but at that moment somebody came out the building and I was able to come in. So I'm trying to give him a call to ask him, okay, should I wait for him to come downstairs or should I just go upstairs, because I didn't want us to miss each other because there was 2 elevators. So I called him, he didn't pick up. So I decided, let me just go into the elevator and go upstairs. I go upstairs, he's still in the crib. I go upstairs and I didn't ring the doorbell right away. You know, I just stood in the hallway because I knew that there was other people in the house. So I didn't want to ring the doorbell and feel awkward because my first time there, I never met anybody like his friends, family, or whatever. You know, I didn't want that awkward situation in the first meeting, so I just stood in the hallway for a little while and said, you know, eventually he'll give me a call, which he did. He's still in the crib. He's still in the crib, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in front of your door. And he just opens it. Like, dude, were you preparing to come downstairs and let me in? This is just the beginning. I'm like, okay, Tosh. Woosah. I'm good. It's fine, whatever. So I'm in the crib or whatever, and he's just about ready. So fine. He's like, oh, we gotta hurry up because we're gonna miss this movie. So I'm like, oh, this is where we go. We're going to the movies. And we went to the movies like 3 times already, but okay, fine. We going to the movies. There was a movie, Project X, that I wanted to see. So I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't know it came out today. Let's go to the movies. I wasn't dressed for the movies. Like seriously, like after the 3rd date, we're going to the movies, and it's a rainy day. I seriously wouldn't have gotten all dressed up to go to the movies on a rainy day. I just wouldn't have. But fine, it was Project X. I wanted to see it. Alright, cool. So, we get to the movie theater, right? Now, on the way walking to the theater, I'm like, yo, I'm mad hungry. Even wait for the train, I'm like, so hungry. I'm hungry, right? So, oh, maybe we'll be able to stop by and pick something up to take inside the theater, right? But when we get to the movie theater, we try to get our tickets first, and the last show was about to start in like 5 minutes, right? So I'm like, Dad, we're not going to be able to go and get anything to eat. Let's just go to the concession stand, I said. So he's like, no, we're not going to go to the concession stand. So I'm like, why? So he's like, something about the food there is too expensive for what it is. They don't give you enough, blah, blah, blah. So we get inside the theater, and I'm worried that it's going to be crowded, but it wasn't that crowded when we got inside the theater. They gave us a real big jumbo one. So he ends up finding seats, and he gets seats in the middle of an aisle. Not on the end, but in the middle of the aisle. And I'm going to tell you why I point that out. So he gets seats in the middle of the aisle, and I go and I sit down, and I see that it's not that crowded. And I'm like, you know, I really want something from the concession stand, at least to hold me over until the movie ends. So he's like, babe, just go. What? I'm sorry. Call me bougie, but I ain't Never, never. Maybe with a guy that I've been with for 3 years, and I'm like, what? And I'm in my sneakers and jeans, and it's like, yo, I'm hungry. I'm about to, you want something? You know, I'm about to go get me something, right? But not in the beginning. You know, I'm hungry, get something from the concession stand, some popcorn, some soda, something, candy, something. And he's like, just go. So I'm like, I go and I walk to the end of the aisle. And then I say to myself, fuck that shit. I'm like, I'm not going to the concession stand because, like, that's some, like, what, I'm sorry, but, like, what do I look like? I'm sorry. What do I look like going to the concession stand and my dude's sitting here and I'm bringing, no. So I go back and I sit down and I'm like, you know what, just forget it. But I don't say it with an attitude. I'm just like, you know, I'm fine. I'm just going to wait until the end of the movie. I say that in my head. But I go and I sit down. He's like, you're not going? And I'm like, no, I'm not going. I'm like, I'm just going to wait until the end of the movie. He's like, babe, are you sure? Because you know, you say you're so hungry and I want something too. What? What? Wait. I am too nice. I am too nice. He said he wants something too. All right, fine. You know, he had a death in the family, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Rewind. Pause right there. Rewind. So he's at the wake, right? And he says that he's mad full because when I was telling him I was hungry on the way to the theater, he's talking about he's mad full because there was mad food at the wake and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, yo, why you ain't get me a plate? Like, why you ain't, like, even if you, like, anybody that's going somewhere, like a barbecue or whatever, something like that, it's family, you know? And there's mad food, you gonna bring a plate home. If not for somebody else, for yourself or whatever, right? So, yo, why you ain't give me a plate? I've been telling you that I've been hungry. I'm hungry. He didn't think about it. Whatever. So he's like, yeah, because he wants something too. So at that point, I was just like, you know what, just forget it. Like, Tosh, just go and get you something because your stomach is about to slap you in your face, right? So I go down the steps. I start to go down the steps. I'm like, yo, just give me my pocketbook. I left my coat with him, not realizing that my phone was in my coat. So I leave my coat with him. I grab my bag because I know my bag has my card. That's another thing on top of that. He didn't even give me no cash to go get whatever it is that I wanted plus whatever it is that he wanted, you know. And I'm telling you, I'm in 5-inch heels. 5-inch heels. So I go ahead and I start to walk down the steps and I'm feeling a little, like after the first 2 steps, I'm feeling a little wobbly. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's not all that well lit in the theater. The steps are kind of short and I'm kind of high. These heels are new and don't, you know, I know how to walk in heels, but for some reason with the platform and everything, I was feeling a little wobbly after the second step. So I'm like, shit, let me hold on. So I start to walk down the steps. Yo, you ever saw Scarlett Takes a Tumble? Yes. Tasha takes a tumble down the steps. Lands on my knees. Yes. White pants. White pants. Yes. In the theater to see Project X, which is like a teenage movie. So, of course, there's a lot of young kids in the movie theater. So I'm hearing all the cackling. Or of the people who actually saw me fall down the steps, and I'm wondering, like, damn, did this dude just see me fall down the steps and blah, blah, blah. So I'm embarrassed, so I'm just like, you know what, just forget it. Just get up, laugh at yourself, whatever, and just go ahead and get you something to eat. So I get outside or whatever, I laugh it off with somebody who's right behind me. You know, he was laughing, I laugh, whatever, and it's over. So I try to get to this concession stand that's on my floor. The concession stand on the floor of the theater is closed. So I have to go down 2 flights of escalators in order to get to the other concession stand. And it's crowded. Oh, yeah, it's crowded. So I get down there with the intentions of just going right back upstairs and going back into the theater. But a part of me was like, you know what, Tasha, you smelling all this popcorn. Like, I'm right there. And the hot dogs and everything and pizza. Just go ahead and stand online. You know, I'm pretty sure you're not going to miss anything that's that important to the story of Project X where you can't feed yourself right now because that's what's important. So I go ahead and I get online and I'm looking at the menu. I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna get me a pizza. Finally I narrowed it down. Like, I'm gonna get me a hot dog. I'm gonna give me one of them long hot dogs and a soda and probably like some nachos or something, right? And we could share that. Get up there, no hot dogs. So I'm like, all right, plan B, let me get the corn nuggets, the corn dog nuggets, right? That'll suffice. And they're like, no corn dog nuggets aren't ready, blah blah blah. So I'm like, Dad, like, what you got? And they hardly ain't have anything but nachos and popcorn. And I don't know anybody who gets nachos and popcorn. Like, when I go to the theater, it's either nachos or popcorn. So I'm just like, yo, just give me the nachos and give me a big drink. So I'm figuring, like, yo, we could share this. This will be good enough. It's salty enough or whatever to hold me over until the end of the movie. So I got that. Luckily, I didn't get anything extra because, the drink was in this hand and the nachos are in this hand with the cheese in it or whatever, and I just fell. So I'm like, I don't want to fall again, and that's going to be even bigger disaster or whatever. But if I would have got something else, it would have been even more to carry, and I'm in 5-inch heels. 5 inches. Okay, so I proceed to walk back up the escalator, and I get to the movie theater, and mind you, the movie had already started. I heard that the movie had, so I must have been down. I didn't have my phone, so I didn't have no idea of time, so I didn't know how much time I spent down there, but I spent enough time. My phone is ringing. Ugh. Hello? Who is this? DJ? No, what happened? No, I was in the middle of telling a very frustrating story. That's what it was. I will call you when I finish. All right, bye. So, yeah. So, anyway, where was I? All right, so I spent a little bit of time where the movie the previews had shown already, and I like to see previews. I don't know about you, but I like to see the previews. So I missed that, and the movie has started already. So I walk up the aisle, and it's even extra dark now, and I try to see like where he's at. And I stand there for a while looking, and there's more people sat down, and of course there's more people sitting at the ends of the aisles, right? He sat in the middle of the aisle, so I really needed to locate where he was in order to get to him, because I had to, I had to I had to go over people in order to get to where he was, and I couldn't see what aisle he was in. So I stood there for a while. I got white pants on. I stood there for a while to see if I would see a, or or Tosh, or just him stands up or something, and nothing. I didn't see anything. So I'm standing there with my nachos and my soda on the ends of the aisles, and people are watching the movie, and I'm missing it, and I'm feeling a little embarrassed. So I'm like, okay, let me just get out of the aisle. So I go and I stand outside for a little while in hopes that maybe he saw me and that he will leave, because he doesn't have anything but my coat, and my umbrella. Maybe he saw me and he'll come outside the movie theater or whatever, and then we'll just go back inside by ourselves, and then find a seat. But no, he didn't. So now I'm starting to get upset. I'm like, yo, I'm missing the movie. I'm looking mad stupid, and I'm like real pissed off right now, and all I got is these damn nachos. So I proceed to go back inside the movie theater. Now, I'm like so fuming that I didn't even realize that there was two theaters showing the same movie. So when I started to walk back inside the theater, I walked into the wrong theater, and I go and I sit down. And I sit down next to these real hood dudes. Okay, because that's where I first found a seat. I sit down next to these real hood dudes in the wrong theater, didn't even notice, and they're like, oh, You my date now? You my date now? Whatever. Oh, you brought something for me to eat and blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to ignore them. After a while, yes, they stopped. But they was just real loud and ignorant throughout the movie. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dang, why would they start the movie at this point? You know, I'm like, I know I wasn't downstairs for that long. Come to find out, I went into the wrong theater, and that movie was just about to end. So I caught the tail end of the movie first. So then I was just like, you know what? I'm not getting up at this point. Let me just, it looks like it's just about to end. So let me just sit here and eat. So I sit there and I start to eat and everything. And then movie ends and I decide to then go into the right theater. So I go back inside the right theater, right? And then I go and I sit down. But I'm like, let me go and I'm going to try again to see if I see where he's at. So I go and I go up the aisle, the ends of the aisles again. I'm sorry. I'm real frustrated. I'm starting to come down. Like the adrenaline, like I was there with my anger and it's just starting to come down, like, you know, up to a fuck it, you know, point. You know, that fuck it point. So just bear with me, because I'm gonna get to how this night just panned out. So I go back to the aisle again. I try to locate him. Didn't locate him, but I'm like, I just sat down after just a few seconds because I didn't want to look stupid again, just standing there. And I was just there not too long ago. It's like, damn, this bitch ain't find her date yet. So I just sit down. I sit down, watch the finish watching the end of the movie, and then when the movie starts to end, I keep looking back to see if I can see where he is, because since he's in the middle of the aisle, I don't want him to go in the opposite direction to leave. So I locate where he is, and then he must have saw where I was because he starts to walk in my direction and gives me my coat. Yo! When he gives me my coat, he's mad. He's mad. He goes, really? Really? Why'd you leave me over there by myself? Whoa! That's all you can do. That is all you can do, Tasha. I was just like, whoa. Because I was about to flip at that point. At that point, I was about to flip. So, instead of, you know, acting like an angry black woman in public, and I don't like to conduct myself like that. I'm not used to situations like that. Like I don't get in situations like that. Like seriously, but there was people there, so I'm waiting for everybody to move out of the theater, or at least the people that I was sitting next to get up and leave. So I sit down, and I didn't say anything to him. I was just like, let me just sit down for a second, and gather my thoughts or whatever, right? So let me just sit down. So he's standing there. There's a seat right next to me. He doesn't sit down next to me and ask me what's the matter, what's wrong, nothing. He just stands there. Finally, the people next to me leave. So then I proceed to get up and start to put on my coat and stuff. And he's like, yo, what's wrong with you? What the hell happened? You had me sitting there like a dickhead or whatever, and I'm trying to call you and stuff like that. Nigga, if I say to him at that point, I say, I couldn't find you, right? That's what I said. I was like, I couldn't find you. And he was like, what? And then he walks away from me. No, wait. He doesn't walk away from me yet. I'm like, yo, I couldn't find you. He says something that let me know that he was still upset. Not even trying to figure out what happened to me, how I'm doing, what's wrong with me, nothing. He's still upset. And I'm like, wait a second, you're upset with me because of this? And then he walks away from me. Tasha had it to here at that point. And I'm like, whoa, this dude, he really got me fucked up. I really don't like to curse, but that's the first thing that came in my mind. Like, this dude got me fucked up. Really, really, really. So, at that point, when he walks away from me, I proceed to walk out the opposite direction of the movie theater and make a beeline down the escalator, out of the front door, walking down the block on 42nd Street, straight to my train. Yo, I'm done. I'm done. Like, serious, I'm done. Like, you. So I start to walk, and he starts to call. He's calling. Now I got my phone, right? And he starts to call, and I pick up the phone, and I'm like, yo, Jermaine, like, he's like, yo, Tasha, and then he starts kind of flipping a little bit, and I'm like, yo, Jermaine, listen, right? Trying to get a word in, and he's like, you know what, fine, and look, have a nice life, you just gonna leave, like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm walking down the block to my train, right? And oh, you just gonna leave down, have a nice life. Click. What? Continue to walk to my train station. I text him because I at this point I got a gist of how he is, and I'm like, if this nigga think that he's just going to let me go home by myself this late, it was probably like 2:30 in the morning, home this late, after that little ass incident that he just blew up even bigger than what it was, when I'm the one that should be as mad as he is, and then try to call me the next day and apologize or whatever. No, I'm not having it. Like, I'm gonna give him a chance to catch up and apologize. So I texted him, if I don't get an apology by the time I get to the train station, you will never speak to me again. Okay? So I get to the train station, and I stop at the train station, and I decide to myself, I'm looking like at my phone and stuff like that, and I decide to myself, I'm not just gonna get on the train. Let me go and get myself a drink. So I go and I stop, and then while I'm looking at my phone, he must have followed me all the way to the train station, or saw me, and just, I saw him there because he stood there and he was like, what are you doing, like, on your phone or something like that, like, what are you doing? So I look at him, and I stand there again. I'm waiting for him to say something in the form of an apology, or what's the matter, or try to, like, nothing. And then I turn to him and I say, I'm going to go get me a drink. So then I walk to the closest club that I saw. Like, they were having a private party, so I couldn't get in. And I ended up walking all the way around the block, and then I'm just like, you know what, Tasha, I'm just going to go home. Thinking that he's probably still behind me or trying to catch up with me, but he wasn't. He must have left at that point because I walked away and said I was going to go get a drink. Fine. I get downstairs to the train, and I don't know what happened. The train pulls up after not too long of me coming downstairs, so I'm like, perfect, I'm going to be able to get home real quick. But no, they don't even open up the doors because something happened. The cops and dogs and everything is on the platform going back and forth. And I stood there for like, 5-10 minutes before they even opened up the daggone door, and I was able to sit down. 5-inch heels. So finally I get home, and I'm like talking to myself at this point on the way home, because I'm like, I can't believe this night panned out like this. I can't believe it. And I get upstairs, I go to sleep. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. It's over. Like, whatever. And earlier that day, just to cheer him up, he likes jelly beans. He had told me on the first date that he really likes jelly beans. So I even made it. I took the time out earlier that day because I wanted to get him something to kind of cheer him up, because I didn't know how he would be after the wake. I wanted to get something to cheer him up. So I got dressed and went downtown to Dylan's Candy Bar in order to get some jelly beans, because I didn't know exactly where to find them, but I knew that they had them. Got dressed, went down to got the Jelly Belly jelly beans, okay, a box of them, and gave it to him and shit, and it was just like, wow, Tasha, like, I almost kind of had to balance it out on whether or not he was acting that way because he was emotionally like distraught because of whatever happened earlier, or with the passing of his family member, which was, it was his uncle, by the way, or like, but the situation was so like, it could have been blown over so easily if, one, he would have just allowed me to just wait it out until the end of the movie without saying anything. Like, oh, you're not going to be hungry, you're not going to be hungry, oh, I want something too. Or, number two, go and get the food. Go and get the food. Like, that's what I expect. I expect you to go and get the food. Like, even if you ain't have the money for it, like, this is a date. I'm sorry. This is a date. You need to bring enough money to get something to eat if you're going to take somebody out to the movies. If you don't, no. Even a box of candy or something. Like, I'm sorry. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So, I finally get to bed and I'm about to doze off. Still didn't contact him at that point. And I get this text message. Not even did you get home okay. No, none of that. Got this 3 text messages. I'm going to read it to you. I can't believe you, excuse me, start again. I can't believe you leave my side and walk off. Then you decided to leave and go get something to eat when that could have waited. I called your phone numerous times trying to get an answer to where you were, and then you come back in the theater almost an hour later. Pause. So that means he didn't see me the first time I went into the theater. He saw me the second time. What was I doing for an hour? What was I doing for an hour? You don't even know. You don't even ask. And you don't even wait for me. You don't even give me a chance to tell you even what happened. You just fly off a handle. Almost an hour later, missed most of the show and just walk up the steps and sit in the first empty seat you find. So he saw me the second time I came in. I was watching you when you came back in the theater, and then I started calling your phone again, which it doesn't matter anymore. So he didn't even realize I didn't have my phone on me. He must have just been sitting there thinking I was ignoring him. But he had my coat. No possibility that maybe I left my phone in my coat. Like, if I couldn't find you, I said when you came and gave me my coat, and I said I couldn't find you. If you can't find somebody that you're with, you call them, right? And I didn't give you a call. I didn't have my phone. Wait, he didn't even let me say it. He didn't even let me tell him that. It doesn't matter anymore. It's done. It's my fault. I should have never agreed to meet up with you. Take care. At 3:08. I didn't respond. I just want to say this on camera, that I have been in a relationship where the man tries to play play with the emotional strings of a woman. No matter what situation it was in, they would try to make it seem like they were the victim or I was the one that was wrong all the time. They had a very hard time admitting fault in themselves. And it was a very, really, really, really bad relationship. And I vowed to myself that I would never, ever, ever, ever make a man make me feel like I'm compromising my good sense, my character, and my worth. Never. And I also vowed that I would only pour myself into the next man I'm in a relationship with if he treats me better than I treat myself. In other words, what would my dad do? What would my brother do? What would I want my son to do in that situation? And that's how I want to be treated. That's how I deserve to be treated. What would I do if I was a man dating me in that situation? And that's how I expect to be treated. And there are so many more ways than one last night that I wouldn't have let it go down. My dad wouldn't let it go down. My brother wouldn't let it go down. And I wouldn't have wanted my son to do that to a female. And that made me sleep really well last night. I'm getting up because I'm a little like, I can't believe this dude, this Negro. I can't believe it. I just wanted to make this video just to let it out, and I'm done. I'm pretty sure a couple of days from now, or maybe later on, he's going to give me a call or whatever, but I'm done. I can't do it. This is like a really sure sign that this is not going to work out between us because communication is off. And you can't have a successful relationship like that, especially if you cannot communicate in the midst of being angry, being depressed or sad, or being nervous or being scared. If you cannot communicate with your partner or with someone when you're in someone that you're with, while you're in those stages at all, then especially in the beginning, it's just a red flag for me that things are not going to work out. And if this situation, as small as just opening the door for me when I first come to your home because you know your door doesn't work and I'm coming all this way to come see you, to going to the concession stand to go get me something to eat because I said I'm hungry, to just listening or being concerned about my safety or my feelings after, I didn't come back after a while and you don't know what happened. I could tell, like, it's not gonna work. This is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I can't do it. I can't do it. I won't do it. Yeah. 5-inch heels. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.